went back and we cleaned it up on the bench grinder, which actually was relatively quick. Kind of shocked by that. And then we went over here and just kind of threw it on, and you can see it's too tall on these guys right here. So what we can do, if you don't mess this up, is you can go back and kind of line it up where your cuts are, and you can kind of see you know, how close you are or not. So those peaks obviously need to come off. But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of shave it off, see where it hits, and then, you know, reduce that spot. Like this guy is, this tip is touching, it's keeping everything from seating here. So we'll just go back and we'll shave a little bit off there, and we'll touch it again, and we'll shave it off and touch it again. And once we got that guy sitting on there perfectly flush, then we can bevel it out, and then we can figure out how much of this, see that, whoop, how much of that we need to remove to make it fit on the tube we already have. This guy here is what we got. So surprisingly, this has only been like a minute later. So I just went back, ground it. The cool thing is with these guys is you can literally just, I mean, it's the same radius, so you don't have to come back and precisely figure it out. You can just, either way, it doesn't really matter. If it's sitting and you're close to your guidelines made by the little spaghetti dilly bobber, then you're close. And then what we did, we put this guy, sorry, I'm always focusing where I'm working and not on the camera. And you'll see there's a big gap in the bottom there. So what we got to do is just come back in here, and we just got to cut some of the radii out of this guy right here to shorten that up so this will fit nice. So this will fit nice and flush in there. And yeah, so there's one down, a little bit more. But yeah, you guys get the gist of it. But yeah, see that big gap? That's no go. So we got to clip a little bit out, and we're just gonna shave this down just a little bit at a time until we take up the slack right there. All right, so I'm guessing like 3 hours have probably passed, and the first whole thing out the window. It worked horribly. So that's why I got metal with fish mouth that doesn't fit anything. And that's not working out well. So we're going back to the drawing board. What we're doing is we just went ahead and welded these bad boys on. So again, just first pass, fusion pass, good bit of penetration going on in there. And we did that all the way down the line. And the idea is that this guy, we did okay. It's actually, I after whittling through like I originally thought I would do, on this first one ended up being not right, because we were dealing at this angle, this is offset, we're dealing with this angle, it's not straight, it's forward, and then this angle is offset, so it's not in the center, it's actually off to the side, and this didn't actually radius perfectly well with that, like this does. So we had to kind of cheat a little bit to get this guy. The first one just ended up being complete garbage. So the second one we cheated, and it worked out on number. This will be actually what number? What are we doing? 2. So this will be a number 2 cylinder, 4, 6, 8. But I'm just calling it 1, 2, 3, 4 because I'm a retard. And then we'll just go ahead and kind of take this guy out. We'll put this on this plane here and watch, and then kind of with a Sharpie guesstimate and what we got to take out of the fish mouth to make it set well, and just grind. Grinding is the word of the day. We're grinding. A lot of grinding, guys. And it sucks. All right, we're making progress now. 1, 2, So we got 2 done. That was like only half an hour to get that guy kind of coped out. And I remember the end of my belt sander there is about the same radius as this tube. It's a little bit narrower, wider, one of the two. but it works enough that you can get it ballpark. So only 2 more. We're halfway done making the runners, kind of, sort of, in a way. Always look on the bright side of life. 3 4 Okay, so yeah, we got these guys all coped up, which is good. And all we gotta do is just mark around them all and then plasma cut each one of these guys on the inside, and then clean it up with the die grinder, and then we will put the final, ow, some of these guys are a little warm from the grinding. Then we'll go back and we'll put the cap on those guys, and then we will tack it all together. We'll put it back in the car to make sure nothing moved while we were doing all this, and that we still have clearance. And once that's done, we'll put it back on this jig and weld it out. You see, I got that nice aluminum block with the gassy gas ports. You got to have that. Keeps your flange nice and flat. Even these big old 1/2-inch stainless steel flanges, these boys, if you don't tack that thing down, you start welding on it, it is going to be about the shape of a taco, which doesn't fit on the engine well. So oh yeah, you see, I used a short raise. I got a shorty boy right there. But yeah, cleaning everything, marking everything, cutting things. Hooray. This thing has proven itself worthless yet once again. So if you like this very expensive tool, like, subscribe, share, comment that you want this, and we will do a giveaway a week after we post this video up, because yeah, it's got to be good for someone. Back working on the Phoenix, the intake, not the intake manifold, the exhaust manifold. So we got this bad boy right here. If you just watched the catch can / aluminum gap episode, you saw that I knocked this guy right off like 3-4 feet in the air, fell on the ground, knocked everything off. so I had to bash it a few times to try to get everything lined back up. So that's just something you got to keep in mind when you got these. I mean, this thing's literally just a tack weld there, a tack weld there, a tack weld there, and there, and that's keeping everything in line for me. Luckily, we got all the holes cut and everything lined up beforehand, so yeah, it should all line back up. But what we're gonna do is, like I showed you guys, the plasma cutter just makes really nasty cuts on stainless. It just burns the bejesus out of it. So we got to go in here and we got to grind all this old slag out of here to make it nice, clean, bright, shiny, bright metal for welding, and just make sure that we don't have crappy fit up, that we're actually lined up correctly. Maybe even a little bit on the gappy side. I'd rather have a little bit of a gappy than some crappy beaver chewed up cut. So yeah, back onto this guy, and we're gonna get with the die grinding. Lots of die grinding, nothing you want to see. I'll be using my little die grinder. I bought this bit probably a decade ago, and it just seems to work. I don't know. I got it at the I think Fastenal with this guy. Some carbide bits will just magically last forever, and some will last about 3 seconds. It's weird. And I wouldn't associate that necessarily with brand name. Like, you might go back to Fastenal, buy something that looks exactly like this, and it might last you 2 seconds. I don't know how to explain it. maybe science stuff. This stuff is a help. So you can use this to lube the bit. It kind of keeps it cool, keeps it from overheating and eating itself, and it doesn't mess with the welds. So that's why I like to use it, and that's what I'll be using. A lot of people use that for head port, keeping your bits from loading up, and my battery's dead. All right, we cleaned up the holes, and we got the runners tacked in, just real soft, in just a couple places, 1, 2, just so we can go put this in the car and see if we screwed anything up. We didn't pay attention to something like how a spark plug sits or how a spark plug wire sits, all that good stuff. Hopefully we've taken everything into account and we'll be ready to weld soon, is the hope. But I was going to cap all these guys, so I guess I'm going to be capping it while it's all welded up. So the best laid plans. I really hate taking my microphone off. I know it's directional, and all of a sudden the sound is crap. So bear with me. We'll make it short. This guy's in. I just got to raise it up and look to make sure we're not actually hitting the cross member or anything, but it feels good. I didn't feel anything touching. You can already feel the flange had warped just from making a few tack welds. Not badly, but when I was putting the bolts on, I can tell either it wasn't flat to begin with, which I think it was, because I would have probably noticed that putting it on and off. But I'm telling you, when you do stainless, you gotta bolt this stuff down, especially if you're welding. You can get away with tacks, but it's gonna get bad. But the good thing here is that, look at that spark plug wire, man. I mean, boop. There is nothing even remotely close to it. And that one's right there. You can kind of see by the bar, and there's none on the front, but all of them, you can't see that one because it's so dark. But I assure you, there is one there and one there, and these spark plug wires are going to go right to it. There's not going to be any problem, and our downpipe is going to go right through there, but we will bolt that. Somebody had a question of something, one of my 4-inch to 3-inch reducer V-bands. So I'll show you guys. I make all kinds of these goodies to help you guys solve problems. So he had a question whether this fit or not, and so I took it off and tried it, and the answer is yes, it does fit. So if you wanted to reduce your exhaust, you can do that with these guys. I sell them on the website. These are 4-inch to 3-inch reducers version 2.0 that have the self-aligning back, and I'm also going to have copper gaskets for these guys probably by the time you guys see this video. So I'd be looking for that if that'll help you solve one of your problems. We'll get this downpipe put in here before we put this thing up in the air and just recheck all the clearances again, make sure we're good. And yeah, I think what I'll do then is just go ahead and weld this bad boy out, because I got to do that, and then we need to figure out what we're going to do about attaching it here. If I can get away, I'm thinking that I might be able to get away with one piece if I can get the flange to be able to fit between the water pump and the K member as I wiggle it out. But we're also going to have a wastegate flange on the end of that as well. So we're getting a little bit complex. Worst case scenario, we'll add some kind of V-band flange thingy on here. But hopefully we can just make it one piece. That would be ideal. So throw that on, check it out, and let you guys know what's up. So we've been welding for like an hour. It's a long time. Like my neck hurts from wearing my what do you call it? Hood. So all we've got is just around the bases. So it's getting warm. I'm just gonna let it cool down. Oh good Lord. But we have made it all the way around the flange. So then we just need to hit where it meets the flange, and then just recap these guys, which I wish I would have done before I started this, and it would have been much easier. But I'm an idiot, and this is how idiots do. Surprisingly, this guy is about as hot as the sun. Apparently, it's difficult to weld without getting things hot. But there is our what do you call it? Our manifold guy. And I would say it is not beautiful, but it's not the worst thing we've ever done. And it's certainly sturdy. So I think we'll have a pretty luck holding up the turbo with this guy. Now if we can just make it fit so we don't have to take out the water pump, that'll be key. We don't want a turbo system that you have to take the water pump off to get to. You don't want a turbo system you have to take shit off to get to. You just want the turbo kit to go in and be able to work around the turbo kit. That is the magic spot to be in. Turbo kit and still have things functional without things burning to the ground. That's bad. So yeah, I'm gonna let that guy cool off, and then with a fine tooth comb go over every single joint with my glasses on, so I can make sure that there's no little pen holes or stuff that we missed. And then we'll get it back on the car for fit up number 427, and see what we gotta do to make the front end work. So manifold's done. That only took forever.